Hello and welcome back to a new video. Recently I have been getting messages about my drawing process, especially when it comes to rendering. So I'm making an introductory video sharing more about this technique. In this video, I will talk about the materials I use, walk you through my process, and share some tips, and end with a bonus exercise that you can do as practice to learn this technique. So let's go and see some materials. I'm using paper with mild tone, about 130 or 80 pounds in weight. And I'm also using these mechanical pencils and an eraser. Before I shade, I like to sketch the most important details of my subject. The facial features, placing them in more proportional way so everything looks more or less accurate. Here I am going for a loose likeness. I'm not too bothered if the sketch is not tight enough, so loose lines are fine. I have included this in the process itself because this is a very important part of my rendering or any drawing process. I spend almost 30 minutes to an hour, sometimes even more than that, depending on how much difficult or how much bigger the drawing is. Here, however, I think I have spent 30 to almost like 45 minutes because it was a small sketch and also a study piece. I didn't spend that much time on getting the features placed. Once I'm done with accurately positioning the features, like I'm checking the proportions here, place the eyes, nose, all those features in a right way, and then I will start shading. To shade and render, I am using the same two mechanical pencils that I have first sketched the piece with. So the first I will go with the lighter pencil and add some layers of lines. The initial line I'm placing will work as a road map. When I will make more darker marks, they will help me to guide. I will retrace my path with the same line direction, but I will apply more pressure to increase the values. Talking about values, this is something is very crucial to maintain the way you're shading. So when you want to create different shading areas, in some places you want darker shadows, in some places you want it to be lighter, you have to create a difference of values. I like to create a range of values, in the sense I like to create a range of dark to light variations so that my shading doesn't look that blended and muddy. I like to see the glowiness, and I think the building through layers will create glowy nature of this shading. So gradually attaining a value difference is what I am doing here. It's easy to make scratchy lines if you harshly draw these lines. I like to keep check how much pressure I am putting on the pencil. First lines that I'm making, they are light and with less pressure. And the next layers building with darker lines and more pressure. This pressure control is very important to get a smooth finish. To control how much pressure you want to put, simply hold the pencil away from the tip to get less control of your pencil. Hence you will make lighter lines. And when you want to add more darker lines, hold the pencil close to the tip. Sometimes when I don't like a line, I will quickly erase it. Sometimes I just draw on top of it with darker lines. But since I'm building lines after lines, they go behind and get hidden in the nuances of other stronger, more darker lines. The lines that I'm drawing here are slightly carved. When I'm drawing round areas, I'm slightly curving my lines to adjust with the forms of the face, almost like C shape. The carved lines can become concave and convex depending on the direction I'm going. It can sound a little bit confusing, so here are some examples. When you draw round object, curve the lines to adjust with the forms of the face. However, when you're drawing flat areas, slightly make them straight to adjust with the forms of the object. The same rule applies for face itself. Areas where the face is a little bit round, I am carving my lines more and more to adjust with forms of the face. Areas where I see flat surfaces in the face, I'm not carving my lines that much, so I'm keeping them more or less straight. If you're still confused, wait till the end of the video. I will tell more things about these lines. When I'm drawing here, the lines are carving more. Some areas I'm keeping them C-shaped curves, so very rounded curves, and some areas I am doubling it, so making an S shape. It also depends on what type of hair I'm drawing. So if I'm drawing curly hair, my lines will go more round, so they will almost look like scribbles. But when I'm drawing straight hair to like wavy form of hair, lines will adjust in that way, so it will become S to C to straight lines. I hope you get the gist. There is a process in the chaos. There are some rules in which directions you will shade and which directions you won't. But if you are determined to achieve the volume and show the glow and make the composition and overall get an experience of these emotions with these lines, you can surely achieve it. I love the nature of this technique. Beside having a glowing, more fresh looking drawing, it is overall very satisfying process, and as an artist I value the process more than the finished result itself. I hope you got an intro into this shading and the rendering technique. Next, I will share with you exercise that you can do to practice this rendering technique. This is a very simple exercise. You just have to draw a bunch of circles and shade them. Shading these circles will help get the pressure control. So when you start lines, use different pressure points for each circle. When you're done shading bunch of circles in this way, these lines are straight lines, so they will give you a very flat shading. You can shade a bit more and now carve the lines. So when I'm carving the lines, I'm kind of getting a three-dimensional view. So I will draw a bunch of circles again, and I will now put some more circular, more carved C-shaped lines. I'm building the lines one by one and then stacking them, and hence I'm seeing the more volume here. This is a very great technique. In this way you can build anything which is a round object. You can also turn these circles into simple objects like fruits and vegetables. I like to use this practice to understand face.